الجابر بن زيد الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قال دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له اتق بالله يا أبدا من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بكسار مالي فأتيني به فأتيته بكسار مالي فأتيته به فصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة إمامه وكماله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد لما كانت الله سألته وإذا بولده الحسن الأكبر وقال السلام عليك يا أمام فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني ثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمام إني أشم عندك راية ديوة فأنها راية جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكيساء فأقبل حسن والكيساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتعذر لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكيساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولدي يا صاحب حوضي فأذن لك فدخل معه تحت الكيساء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وما كانت الله سعادنا وإذا بيد الحسين كالأقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمام فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي يا قرة عيني ثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمام إني أشم عندك راية ديوة كأنها راية جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك أخاك تحت الكيساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكيساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدة والسلام عليك يا من اختار الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكيساء فقال عليك السلام يا ولد يا شافع أمتي فأذنت لك فدخل معهم تحت الكيساء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك راية ديوة كأنها راية أخي ومن أمر رسول الله فقلت نعم إنها وما ولدك تحت الكيساء فأقبل علي نحو الكيساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله تأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكيساء قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيلي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي كأذن لك فدخل علي تحت الكيساء
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
ثم أتيت نحو الكيساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكيساء قال عليك السلام يا جدي ويا بداتي كأذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكيساء
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكيساء خطا برسول الله بطرف الكيساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لهم دمي يؤذوني ما يؤذيهم ويأذوني ما يأذونهم أنا أحب من أربع ومسلم من سالمهم ومدعو من أعداءهم وحب من أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فجعل صلواتك وبركاتك رحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واجب عنهم ورزقهم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي وسكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مهيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكيساء فقال أمير جبرائيل يا ربي من تحت الكيساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن رسالتهم فاطمة وأبوها بعضها بنوها
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
فقال جبرائيل يا ربي يتعذر لي أن أحيط الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا قال الله نعم كذبت لك فلقد الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يقولك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك عزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مطية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجل محبتكم وقال أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تعتذر لي يا رسول الله فقال رسول الله عليك السلام يا أمين ويا الله إنه ناقل لك فدخل جبرائيل معنا ذات الكساء
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال ربي إن الله قد أوحى عليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي ربي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا وصفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر قبلنا هذا في مصر من محافل الأرض وفيه جو من شيعتنا محبين إلا نزلت عليه الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرتهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي رضي الله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا بالكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا وصفاني برسالة نجيا ما تدر قبلنا هذا في محفل من محافل الأرض وفيه جو من شيعتنا محبين وفيه مغموم إلا فرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا كشف الله همه ولا طالب حاجة إلا قضى الله حاجته. فقال علي رضي الله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة رب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. جزاك الله बेटा, جزاك الله. We have a 7 o'clock more. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में शादा रहता है, जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में शादा रहता है, वो तो रहता नहीं पर नाम सदा रहता है, जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में शादा रहता है, तो वो रहता नहीं पर नाम सदा रहता है। शिमर कहता था यही माँ है अली अकबर की, शिमर कहता था यही माँ है अली अकबर की, जिसका एक हाथ कलेजे पर डरा रहता है, जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में शाहदा रहता है, तो वो रहता नहीं पर नाम सदा रहता है ये शर्मिंदगी पानी से न पहुँचाने की, है ये शर्मिंदगी पानी के न पहुँचाने की, नेज़े पे भी सरे अब्बास चरा रहता है जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में शाहदा रहता है वो तो रहता नहीं पर नाम सदा रहता है वो लगी कहने यतीमों की निशानी है यही वो लगी कहने यतीमों की निशानी है यही कुर्ता बेवार सी बच्चों का हटा रहता है जो भी मसरूफ सलाम में I would like to request one bite. Please come recite something for me. Allah salawat.
पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो कैसे पड़े हैं जिस्म के टुकड़े जुदा जुदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो आए है मेरे गरीब का क्या हाल कर दिया घोड़ों से लाश दस्त में पामाल कर दिया पहचानूं किस तरह से बदन से है सर जुदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो ये पहचान लूंगी मैं तुम्हें आवाज मुझको दो दम तोड़ते जो देखा है कड़ियल जवान को आंखों में अब बहन की उजाला नहीं रहा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो कि पहचानना तुम्हारे लिए भी कठिन हुआ देखा है पहली बार जो ज़ैनब को बेरिदा आती है शर्म जब भी बताना मुझे जरा अरे क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो ज़ैनब पुकारी मीर तकल्लुम सदमलाल। क्या मरते वक्त भी मेरे पर्दे का था ख्याल, है मुट्ठियों में किस लिए ये खाके करबला। अरे क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो, पत्थर हटा के लाश से ज़ैनब ने दी सदा। क्या तुम मेरे हुसैन हो। और मोहम्मद
जज़ाकल्लाह जज़ाकल्लाह जज़ाकल्लाह।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व अली मोहम्मद वज्जिल फरजहम।
रज़ा नमाज़ मुझे पास बैठे गलत लाइक में सम्मति नहीं काम हो नारे सलावत
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व अली मोहम्मद।
रक्त है शबीर का ये ज़ैनबे दिलगीर से
صل على محمد وآل محمد. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
محمد وجل فرج.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف أنبياء المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبو القاسم مصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وآل محمد وآله طيبين الطاهرين المظلومين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى أرواح التي حلت بفنائك. Peace be upon you, Ya Aba Abdullah, and all those souls who gathered with you on that day. قال الله في كتاب المحكم في القرآن الكريم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره والله كره الكافرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, they desire to take out the light of God with their mouths, but Allah, to the dismay of the disbelievers, will make His light shine forever. Sadaqallahu al-Ali al-Azim.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
Muhammad. I begin in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. May His peace and blessings be upon the mercy to mankind, Muhammad al-Mustafa. Allahumma and His blessed Ahl al-Bayt, and especially upon the master of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajal Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, Jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Condolences to you on this day, on the Arabaeen of Imam Hasan alayhi salam. On the 40th day after, today is the night of Arabaeen, and it's going to lead into tomorrow, the 40th day after the martyrdom of Imam Hasan alayhi salam. This verse I read from the Holy Quran, it says, they try time and time again to take out and distinguish the light of God. But to the dismay of the disbelievers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects His light. And He makes sure that His light shines forever. And we've seen this time and time again. People have come, tyrants have come. They have tried to destroy the principles of Islam, the principles that Islam stands on and stands for. But what happens? As we have seen, the graveyards are buried with the tyrants' bodies. And they're filled with the tyrants' bodies, time and time again. Empires have risen, they have fallen. But at the end of the day, Allah's word and the religion of Islam continues on. In today's time, we face such problems as well. In today's ever-changing world, there are many issues that people are facing. We have people rising from all corners of the world trying to burn the Quran, as you have seen many times last year and the year before that. And people are trying to distinguish the light of God. But as Allah says in the Holy Quran, to the dismay of the disbelievers, they can never do so. And they will always fail. As such, my lecture these 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow, will be about this verse. And how the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will carry on. And how Imam Hussein alayhi salam himself defended that light. And he was also a tool that was used to make sure that light carries on forever. Because today, 1400 years later, today what are we doing? We're remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because of the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And today we need it the most. We're at a time when the world is going through many tribulations and trials, especially the Muslims of the world today. The world is ever changing. Islam is being attacked left and right. And Islamic ideals are being attacked left and right. And it's something that requires a lot of resilience today. And what is resilience and steadfastness? Resilience is when the ability that you have to come back from anything that you're hit with. It is an ability that every single one of us has. Every time that something comes your way that tries to take you down, you bounce back. There's a tree called the bamboo tree. If you see it during hurricanes and tropical storms, that tree has a very strong foundation. What happens to that tree during storms, it will sway, but it will never fall down. And at the end, those movements make that tree even stronger. So what happens when the storm passes away, that tree becomes even stronger. And no matter what happens, it never fell down. Today, we ourselves need to be like this bamboo tree. We need to learn how to be resilient in hard times, resilient in times when people are against Islamic ideals, resilient in times when people are against you and what you stand for. And that's something that's very, very important today. Because if we don't have this resilience inside of us, we will fall down in the next storm. We will fall down when anyone comes and challenges our beliefs. When anytime we feel that we're standing out from the crowd, we will feel different and run away. We won't have that strength inside of us to stay strong and for what we stand for. In today's time, and especially in this age, especially in the West, this is crucial for us to build this skill. And that's something that's very, very important for us. And this we'll learn from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, from the tragedy of Ashura, what happened that day, and from the entire Ahl Bayt, starting with Rasulullah. You know, Rasulullah, may peace be upon him and his family, when he first started spreading the message of Islam, what happened? It is no different than we're in the time today. He was in an area where people practiced their beliefs for a very long time and they were not open to change. And he stood out. People ridiculed him. We have many hadith narrations that say, in our history, it says, people used to throw rocks at him. He used to come tell people, I'm inviting you towards goodness. That was he used to tell people, I'm inviting you towards goodness. I'm inviting you towards something that's good for yourself, not for me. Nothing that we did benefited Rasulullah, but it benefited us. And that's what he was inviting us towards. Something that'll save us, save humanity, make us better people. At that time, as you know, it was a time of Jahiliyyah. The whole world itself, not only the Arabian Peninsula, was going through tough times. They were doing many practices that destroyed humanity itself. Little girls were being buried alive. Women were being treated like animals. And there was no concept of keeping honor and keeping trust at that time. People were breaking trust, spreading lies. Honesty was not something that was common at that time. So all of these things were happening in the world. And what do all these things do ultimately? Destroy humanity. Humanity can never progress. And these are things that Rasulullah brought people towards. So it's basically someone coming towards us and teaching us something that's better for ourselves. What are we doing? We're abandoning him. We're hurling insults at him, stones at him, harming him. But he never gave up. He was resilient. And because of his resilience, today we have the religion of Islam. Alhamdulillah, for last 1400 years we've been blessed. And the world has been blessed with this religion. Because without this, many advances of the world would not have happened. Many good teachings that we have today in the world would have not have occurred. And people would not know. People would be lost, just like they were at that time. And just like him, his inheritor, Imam Ali alayhi salam, what happened to him? While the caliphate was taken from him, what did he do? Did he run away? No, he stayed resilient. He taught people. No matter what happens, he did his responsibility. He did not say, because you did not give me the caliphate, I'm not going to teach you and not do my responsibility. What did he used to say? Saluni, saluni, ask me before you lose me. Till the last moment of his life, he stayed resilient. There were moments in his life when people did not even return his salam. Now can you imagine the one who was the number one in the side of Rasulullah in his whole life? After him, people did not even return his salam. But what did he do? Saluni, saluni, ask me before you lose me. Till the last moment of his life, he dedicated to helping people. And he stayed resilient. And just like that, his son, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he saw the martyrdom of his father, his mother. He saw what they had done to his family, what they had done to Rasulullah, and yet he stayed resilient. When Yazid came to ask him for allegiance, what did he say? He says, a man like me cannot give allegiance to a man like you. Why? Because a man like me is someone who stands up for the ideals and the principles of my grandfather Rasulullah, and you are the one who stands against them. No matter what happens, and no matter what you do to me or my family, there is no way I can give my allegiance to you. What did he do? He made the ultimate stand against those who try to destroy the ideals and the teachings of Islam. When this verse in the Holy Quran says people try to extinguish the light of Allah, but no matter what happens, Allah will make sure His light shines forever. Imam Hussein was that example. He made sure no matter what happens, the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion of Islam will carry on forever. And that's something we need to take inspiration from in these times today. In fact, that love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what helped Imam Hussein be resilient. On the day of Ashura, it says one of his du'as, and I urge everyone to understand this du'a. And it's a very powerful du'a. On the day of Ashura, he was asking this du'a to Allah. And while there were many days without water, they were not almost their 10th day now, being circled by the army of Yazid. And while they were being tortured this entire time, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says a very powerful, powerful dua. He says, "O Allah, I come towards you in every affliction and I trust you in all my affairs. And I trust you to make every hardship right." Imam Hussein alayhi salam is talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this time. He's asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that no matter what happens, I trust you. I know you will be there for me in every affliction. And this is a dua I ask everyone to recite in times when you're facing hard times in your life. Remember this dua of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That, "Oh Allah, I depend on you in every affliction. And I trust you with all my affairs." Remember this and say this, repeat this. And the reason it made it to us today is because Imam Hussein wanted us to know this. He wanted us to learn that every single time that we're struggling, going through hard times, remember that we can turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tell Him, "Oh Allah, I trust you with all my affairs, and I trust that you'll take care of me." Remember this. It's very important for us today. And this carried on to his companions, this resilience. How did the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam that day, how were they able to make it and stay by his side? When he told them, "You don't have to stay with me, you can leave that night." What did the companions say? Syed ibn Qayn, what did he say? He says, "By Allah, if I was martyred and then revived and brought back to life and then martyred 100 times, I will never leave you, O son of Rasulullah. And I will make sure that you can return back to your family." What did he say? If I was martyred, revived, and then this happened to me 1,000 more times, nothing will shake me from the path of Rasulullah and his family. What was that resilience? And the reason I mentioned Syed ibn Qayn, because a lot of times people always tell me, "You mentioned the Imams, but we can never become like the Imams." Understandable. But Syed was not an Imam. Syed was not a Masoom. Syed was born a human like me and you. Just Imams were humans as well. But as we know, they were Masoom. But Syed, he was not a Masoom, infallible individual. He was born just like me and you. Faced the same struggles me and you would face in life. But Syed, just like the companions of the Imams of the time, what did he do? He learned that resilience. How? How did he get that resilience? Because he saw the resilience and learned the resilience of Rasulullah. He saw the resilience of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hasan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He saw the resilience, how they stayed firm in the times of hardship, how they stayed strong when everyone in the world was against them. Rasulullah, he stayed strong. He lost Khadija, he lost Hamza, He lost all his close ones, but he stayed strong on that path. The same with the rest of his family. Imam Ali, Imam Hasan, Imam Hussein. Syed and the rest of the companions, they saw and learned from them that no matter what happens in life, we will stay strong. Because they stayed strong. Now people often ask this question, and can anyone answer this question? Why did Allah not come to us and speak to us directly? And why did He send us messengers? Why did He send us imams? Does anyone know the answer to that question? You can guess, that's fine. Does anyone want to try? The reason He sent us imams, or individuals, human beings like us, was because we can't say to Allah that this is impossible. Why? Because they were human beings who went through struggles. And they showed us how to withstand those struggles. And how to be resilient. And what to do in those times of struggle. If Allah came to us directly and said, oh, you have to do this, you have to be someone who has tawakkul, I might have said, I don't know how to do that. I have never seen it. But today we don't have that excuse. We've seen the life of the prophets, the lives of the imams, the tawakkul that they had in their life. And today when we read those stories, these are not just stories that we read and have fun and move along in our lives. Every single step that they made, we should incorporate in our life. Learn from every lesson. They faced the most hardships that anyone can ever face. But they taught us how to stay strong during those hardships. So the next time that we're struggling, turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, Allah, the dua that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had made, oh Allah, I depend upon you in every affliction. And I trust you with all my affairs. And see the strength that you get. And know the strength that it gave Imam Hussein on that day. Because Imam Hussein on that day, when he's standing there, he knows he's about to be martyred. His entire family is about to be martyred. But he still says, oh Allah, I trust you with all my affairs. So as such, we have to learn how to be strong. Because we face many challenges. Many challenges come from outside, and they come from inside as well. And first, I'll discuss the internal challenges that we face. We face many challenges, external challenges that we face. Number one, living in the West, we live at a time when Islamophobia is rampant. Why is that? Because of some individuals who try to use the name of Islam for their own fanatical ideologies that we have nothing to do with, but they blamed Islam. Unfortunately, we are the victims of those individuals who had those ideologies and what they wanted to do and blame Islam for. In fact, no one hates those individuals more than us and more than Muslims. And we say this proudly. No one hates those individuals who do terrorist acts in the name of Islam more than Muslims themselves. Why? Because this is not what our religion stands for. They are our number one enemies. But however, the effect of that is that they spread Islamophobia far and wide. And people living in the world today, they face Islamophobia. The second challenge people face is that living in the West, especially Muslims, is that for kids, when they go to universities or when they go to school at a young age, they will see many different ideals. They will see their friends are eating different kinds of foods than them, and they can't eat those foods. They'll feel left out. Many people are seeing that their friends are encouraging them to be in relationships outside of marriage, and they can't do that. And they make fun of them for not being in those relationships. Many times people at work, the most common thing in America for pastime is what? After work, people go to happy hour. They go to the bar and they drink. Many people can't join them, especially those who are Muslims. Why? Because we cannot drink in Islam, and we can't be in those environments. So people are being left out, and feeling left out. Now, I ask you this. If you are feeling like this and you don't have any internal motivation to stay strong, what will happen to you? You will eventually end up joining the people that are around you, right? If you don't know what's right and wrong and you don't have that internal strength, you will end up joining the people. And I'll discuss how to go about this as well and how we can solve this also. I don't like to only tell the problem, I also tell the solution, right? This is the problem that we're facing. Now at the second level, people are also facing, and this is actually a lot worse. People are facing problems within our own communities. Not from the people outside, but from the people within our communities. Internal challenges. And that is the hardest challenge to get rid of. But we have to change that. Because every single time that I see many people who want to become practicing Muslims, it is our own people who turn them away from Islam. They say to them, for example, a brother wants to grow a beard. Mostly from his own family, oh, this doesn't look good. It's not good. Don't do this. Subhanallah. A sister wants to wear hijab. Don't do this. You won't get married. People won't like you. It'll be hard for you in this time. What are the answers that we give to Sayyidah Zainab and Sayyidah Zahra alayhi salam? The hijab is her alam today, her flag that we bear, the women bear. And likewise, the men as well would have responsibilities. But however, we should not be caring what people say around us. We should care what Allah is saying. You know the famous saying, as you know, especially the people of the Pakistani community, "Log kya kahenge?" That has become our Rabb, our Lord, unfortunately. But that's not what our guidance comes from. It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should follow that. And stay strong and know that if we're going upon the right path, we should not care what people are saying. And our own community should not be discouraging people who do these things. In fact, I know many people who say that if they have to leave a gathering to go and pray, oh, ye Maulana ban gaya. This guy became a Maulana. Why are you acting like this? Prayer is a responsibility. A basic responsibility of every single individual that should be doing. Things like this are discouraging to people who try to become good. For example, I know many people who wanted to study Islam. They wanted to pursue Islamic studies. And I asked them why you didn't do it. Oh, our parents talked us out of it. There's no money in this. Subhanallah. You know, there's a saying, a hadith, that Nabi Musa alayhi salam was told from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that there were 5 things. I'll mention one of them which relates to this. Allah tells Nabi Musa alayhi salam, people, I have placed honor in my ibadat, in my worship, but people seek honor in the houses and palaces of kings. People chase honor in the dunya. They chase honor in what people will say and what people think of them, but not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks of them. And this is the biggest problem today. And this is something that we should try to change as much as we can. Because many people, as I mentioned, the reason I mention this is why? We live in a country, or any Western country, which is less than 1% Muslim. I faced the challenges, I showed you the challenges people are facing outside the mosque and outside of our communities, from the outside. Now we make it harder for them to become Muslim and practicing Muslims in our own communities. What do you think will happen to them? You will lose your children. I guarantee you this now. And mark my words. And this is something that we need to change today, and starting today. Because you have to understand, it's already hard for people to try to stick to their faith in a society where you are a minority. People need to be encouraged, not discouraged. And to people who are going through these struggles, who try to become better and being discouraged, I tell you this, that number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows what you're going through. He knows you're trying, and that's what matters. Because your niyat is what matters. You try to, no matter people try to stop you, as long as you had that niyat and you try to do your best in your life, that's what matters. Now Allah understands your struggle, and no matter what happens, He is going to be there for you. So keep doing what you're doing, and don't be discouraged. And to those who are stopping these people, I urge you to encourage them. Because at the end of the day, Imam Ali alayhi salam has a very beautiful saying, salawat. He says the price for your soul is nothing less than Jannah. So do not sell your soul for anything less than Jannah. Paradise. Heaven. Remember this. The price of your soul is Jannah. Nothing less than that. Don't ever sell it for this world of worldly gains. Always stay strong and stand up for what's right and what you believe in and your ideals. And if you know yourself that you're trying, Allah understands and He will support you, no matter what happens. Now, there's many ways to get through these situations. As I mentioned, I'll give you solutions as well. Number one thing is to understand, like I mentioned, Allah understands this. Allah understands what we're going through and He's there for you. And He will get you through all of these situations that you're going through. You know, tawakkul is the secret to beating shaitan. What is tawakkul? The trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all your affairs. When I said that dua that Imam Hasan al-Islam had said, I trust you in all my affairs, that is tawakkul. What is tawakkul? Allah is al-Wakil, that's one of His names. I don't have to translate this, as people know. It's the same in all languages, Urdu and Arabic here, for all the people that understand this. Wakil is someone who could be a lawyer or someone who defends you, or stands up and takes your place. Allah is being your wakil in your life, for all your hardships. Remember this in your life. Allah is taking care of you. He's fighting your battles for you. When you are on His path and putting your affairs in His trust. Remember this. Allah is being your wakil. You know, there's once Nabi Musa alayhi salam, a hadith, and which will help you understand how powerful tawakkul is and how much Allah takes care of us. No matter who you are, Allah is taking care of you. Because the number one quality that you need to understand is to be someone who has tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get through these times or these situations. You know, once Nabi Musa alayhi salam, towards the end of his life, he was worried about his daughters because he knew his time was going to come and he was going to leave his daughters behind. So when Allah sent an angel toward Nabi Musa alayhi salam, and the angel comes to Nabi Musa and he says, Ya Musa, come with me towards the Red Sea. The Red Sea is, as you know, where he split the ocean with Pharaoh. For those who don't know, when Nabi Musa alayhi salam was being chased with Pharaoh, by Pharaoh's army, Allah saved him by splitting the sea in half, what allowed the army to cross. So Allah brought him back to that same spot. Now He says, strike your staff. Nabi Musa alayhi salam strikes the staff. The sea splits in half one more time. He walks to the bottom of the ocean. And the angel tells him, pick up this rock. He picks up this rock. Now He says, look inside that rock. Inside the rock there's a hole. There's an insect eating a morsel of food. Now the angel says, Ya Nabi Musa, the same God that made sure that an insect in the bottom of the ocean, in a rock in the bottom of the ocean, has its sustenance and is taken care of, that same God will take care of your daughters. Muhammad. So likewise, when you're facing those situations, know that same Allah is your Allah. Something that we fail to realize when we read these stories is that Allah is our God too. He is the one that took care of Nabi Musa, that took care of Nabi Isa, that took care of Nabi Muhammad, that took care of all of the Aimma, is taking care of us today, no matter what happens in our lives. You know, and Nabi Musa's story as well, you understand that when his back was faced towards the wall, against the ocean on one side, and Pharaoh's army on the other side, initially what happened? He says, I trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of me. He told the people. Now when your back is faced against the wall today, say the same thing. And Allah will split oceans for you as well. Remember this, in your own way. And that's something we must realize and understand. And there's a real life example as well. There's a very beautiful story that I heard. There was a man, he lived somewhere in a country in the Middle East. And he used to be a hotel manager. He was a very aged man. He had a young family. And that was his only source of risk, his only income, his only job. It was a very famous hotel chain, a very great position. A hotel manager, as you know, makes a lot of money. And he worked for, a very wealthy brand and very reputable brand of hotels, which paid him a lot. So in today's time, you understand it's a very top job, right? Great salary, great benefits. But there was one issue. The hotels that he managed sold alcohol. So he was confused. And he thought about it from time and time again. What should I do? What should I do? Eventually it came to him that I should maybe go ask a sheikh to see what I can do about this. And he goes to the sheikh and he says, explains the situation that I work in such a hotel chain that I earn great money, but it serves alcohol and I'm responsible for this directly. So the sheikh says, you have to quit your job. He says, how can I? Is there any other solution? The sheikh says, did you really come to me expecting me to tell you to stay working there and disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Obviously, I'm not going to tell you this. You have to quit your job, no matter what happens. So he starts complaining back and forth. He starts saying, this is my only risk. I can't support my family. What else can I do? And the Shaykh tells him the verse of the Holy Quran. It's the two verses of Surah Al-Talaq. Whoever is conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will make a way for him and find him a way out. And He will provide for him from sources that he cannot even imagine. You can read this, verse 2 in Surah Al-Talaq. Whoever is dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will make for him a way out, conscious of Allah, taqwa, and provide from him from sources he cannot even imagine. He repeated it to him multiple times. So this man, he taught very long and hard. He goes back to his job. He says, ultimately, I have to put my affair in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He told me to trust Allah. The Holy Quran says to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm going to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like Imam Hasan in Islam, when he made that dua, oh Allah, I trust you with all my affairs. This man, he made this dua, oh Allah, I trust you with all my affairs. And he read this verse from the Holy Quran. And then he started to write his resignation letter. Now he worked, as you know, in a top hotel chain, and he was quitting his job. Why? Because they served alcohol, and it was against Islamic ideals. So as he's about to write his resignation letter, he gets a call from his manager. The manager says, we have decided to move and open a new flagship branch in Medina. And because you've done such a great job here, we're going to move you and make you the head of that manager. And as you know, Medina does not have alcohol in those hotels. And do you understand the story?
Wow.
He was about to quit his entire life, risk his job, his great position. But as he was about to write his resignation letter, because he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I trust you with all my affairs. And as he was about to quit, and before he even finished his resignation letter, he gets that call that you've now been promoted to a position in a place where you don't have to serve alcohol. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Jazakallah.
That is a practical real life example of a real individual. Now you've learned an example of the imams, you learned the example of the companions and people of today's time. All these examples are here to teach you what? That to trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all your affairs, no matter what you're going through, stick to your ideals. No matter what happens, stick to your ideals. Why? Because today we're living at a time when people are losing their faith. Many studies show that about 20% or 30% of all Muslims who grow up in the West are not proud of their identity when in the future, when they grow up. They're not proud to be Muslims. They're scared of showing their faith. They're scared of showing their ideals. And they feel left out. Like I was mentioning in work and school and places, they're feeling left out. 20 to 30%, that's a very big number. That's almost 1/4 to 1/3. And that's a very big number for us to, and it's something we can't ignore in today's time. If that many people are not being, and this study was done in adults and in young children who are scared to tell people that they're Muslim today. And why is that? It's because the reasons I told you. Their faith and their resilience has not been built correctly. Number one, we must understand to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then that will help us and understand and to build what? A proud identity. Because that's something we need today in today's time. If you can't be proud of being Muslim, you will eventually lose your faith. And Islam itself is the best way of life for us. And that's something we don't want to lose. Because that faith is something that was given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He created us. Only the Creator knows what the creation needs. More than the creation itself. And we have to teach our children to build a strong Muslim identity today. Be proud of your faith. You come from a faith which has helped do so much good in the world. So much good for society. And you may be confused because a lot of times you hear negative things about Islam in the news today. But those people aren't Muslims who are doing bad things in the name of Islam. That's not what Islam is about. Islam is those ethics and morals that we stand upon today. Those things that keep communities together, that keep families together. 95% of the Quran is what? Ethics, morals. People's relationship with their family, with their community. We have entire books. Risat al-Hukuk, what is that? The treatise of rights that teach us the rights of our tongues, our hands, our neighbors, our family members, our community. This is what Islam teaches us. And this is what the world needs today. And this is what keeps us going. We have very beautiful lives. Why? Because of Islam. So be proud of that religion. Instead of hiding, show people the world what is missing today. When we see the world today, what's happening? People are being killed left and right. What does Islam teach us? The one who has killed even one human being has killed entire humanity. That's a verse in the Holy Quran. And we should know this by heart. One who has killed even one human being, it is as if he has killed the entire humanity. This is the teachings of Islam. Not what we portray to us. And this is what you need today. And this is what the world needs today. Because we're struggling. The world is going through a very hard time. You will lose your faith. You will, not even that, you will lose humanity. People are changing their gender left and right. This is being encouraged. People are being taught to stay away from the family system. They're being taught to being individuals, which Islam doesn't teach us to be individuals. Islam tells you you're part of a community, your family, your responsibility. The father is responsible for the family, financially, for their deen. The mother is responsible for the family's deen as well. There's a system. And then, every individual in the community is responsible for the community. Right? The community itself is our responsibility. We have to build communities. And this will also help us become stronger in our faith and to feel more proud of our identity when we don't feel alone and lonely. You know, the brother Hasan, he used to tell me stories of how when they came alone here and they felt lonely. But now it's mashallah, look, you have an entire community. You don't feel alone. Right? When your children today, when they go to schools, they feel left out, they might, but they know they have brothers and sisters in the community they can connect to. They're not alone in this world. And what is that? The people you see here today, this is your community. This is one way to build your identity and to show people and be proud. And people should understand that being proud of your identity will help shape Islam in the world today, especially in the West. There's a story of a man named Joram van Claveren. I probably butchered his name, but it's a Dutch name, and he's a Dutch politician whose mission in life was to do what? Was to find faults in Islam, and especially in the Holy Quran. He read the Quran, he became a Muslim, and he became an ambassador of the Quran today. And he used to speak, one of the biggest enemies of Islam. He tried. But what happened? He became a Muslim. And now he preaches the Quran to people. Because what happens? Like I told you, that verse in the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is ethics, morals. It's for us to become better individuals and human beings and better souls in this world. And that's what the world direly needs today. But we can only spread this to others if we know it ourselves. How many of us today, and you don't have to answer this, it's for a personal reflection, can go and defend the Quran to someone who comes to them? Can quote verses of the Holy Quran that teach the Quran, that teach goodness and good actions, while someone comes and says the Quran says this and this and this. And this is for personal reflection. If you can't do that today, learn, get closer to the Holy Quran. Because you should be able to defend that book. And because that book is a manual of life. First for ourselves, forget teaching others, you have to learn it for yourself. But once you learn it yourself, you'll become prouder of your identity. You will no longer be ashamed. You will know how to, because why? You'll know how to answer people. Many people are ashamed and cannot answer and stay away from these situations. Why? Because they don't know what to say when people come to them and say the Quran teaches this and this and this. But when you know the Quran teaches the right things, you will proudly say, no, the Quran teaches this. No, sister, the Quran teaches this. In fact, this is something that will benefit you in your life. And I encourage you to read it. Read this, and this verse. How do we become resilient? How do we become steadfast? We have to study our own religion. Learn it, understand it. That's part of becoming steadfast in this world. Second, seek supportive communities. As I said, when you seek supportive communities, you will no longer feel alone. You will have a brotherhood and a sisterhood that you can depend on. You know you're part of something greater in this life. And that's something that will help us become strong. And these communities are the ones that will save you and your children and your future of your generations that are going forward. And that's something that's very, very important for us to understand in this life. Because it's needed today. And I tell you this, and I give this as a recommendation, as a warning, as something that you must understand and action right away. Everything that I said today, from the internal changes that we have to make with our communities, from the internal changes we have to make in ourselves, to seek knowledge, to understand our faith, to be proud of our faith, to learn it, and to know what the goodness of our faith is. Islam is a blessing in our life. You don't understand it until you leave Islam and see what's happening in the world today. What's happening in the world today? Divorce rates are on the rise. Right? People are leaving left and right because there's no concept of family anymore. Islam teaches us responsibility. People don't have that if they don't follow Islam. Suicide is on the rise. People are giving up their life. Why? Because many people don't believe in a God. They don't have nothing to look forward to in their life. They say, what's the point? But when you believe in God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you understand that tough times will come, Allah will get you through them. It helps people. It really does. But we have to make sure we are learning our religion the correct way and implementing these teachings so these problems that are happening in the world do not start happening, because they are happening in some places in our communities. We can't ignore that as well. But the reason it's happening is why? Because we are not getting the right teachings across. Many people are, unfortunately, some cultural teachings are trumping religion, right? Some people are believing what culture has said to them instead of what Islam has taught us. And this is causing a lot of issues in our life. Why does that happen? Is when every individual does not have a relationship with the Holy Quran and does not study the lives of Ahlul Bayt. Because then we'll always know what to do in every situation. In every situation you can turn to the Ahlul Bayt. What did the Ahlul Bayt do in this situation? And I guarantee you will live a good life. Turn towards them. But ultimately, resilience is something that we need to build. And this resilience is something that we all have within us. It's not something that we can't obtain. Every individual has the ability to be resilient and be steadfast. We just have to try. Make a niyyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, I live in a time when there's many trials and tribulations. But I want to become closer to you, closer towards my faith. Help me. Imam Hussein made many du'as on the day of Ashura. And I encourage everyone to understand and learn these du'as. Many things that we miss in these gatherings is what Imam Hussein alayhi salam actually said on the day of Ashura. Once when he was being attacked, he says, "Oh Allah, I am okay with what I'm going through only because I know that you are watching me. Remember this dua for the rest of your life. And say this in times of need. Because Imam Hussein al-Islam is the one who taught us resilience. He taught us resilience like no one else. He took himself and his family to stand up for the ideals of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion of Islam. Him and his entire family showed us resilience. From the oldest to the youngest, they showed resilience because they stood steadfast against the tyrants, against those who tried to extinguish the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And especially the children of his family. As such, I want everyone to start closing our eyes and to think about the children of Imam Hussein al-Islam. Let's send our salam to those. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bifinaik. Peace be upon you, ya Aba Abdullah, and to all the souls that gathered in your courtyards, and especially upon the children in your family. It says that the tents of Rasulullah's family, all you can hear from the tents was, Ana Atshan, oh Baba, I am thirsty. These were the cries of Sakina, the little daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It says that she ran across and she called out, Ammu Abbas, oh my Uncle Abbas, come to me, Uncle Abbas, I am thirsty. It says that Uncle Abbas, Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, came towards her and says that, yes, Sakina, I will bring you water. Do not worry, I will bring you water. As he went to the battlefield, Sakina alayhi salam, she looked out and she waited for her Uncle Abbas. But what had happened? She received her body, uncle's body, with no hands and no water. She was never able to see her uncle again. But what happened to Sakina? She, as Imam Hussein alayhi salam was going towards the battlefield, she called out, Ya Baba, come towards me one last time. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he went towards Sakina, and what did happen? She says, Ya Baba, please put your hand on my head one last time. Why? She says, because I'm going to be an orphan, Ya Baba. I want to feel your hand one last time, because you won't be here to do it after that. But as Imam Hussein alayhi salam went to the battlefield, and as the enemies overtook him, Sakina became an orphan. It says that night, when all the orphans were running around, Sakina was running, looking for her father's body, looking for her father's head, but she couldn't find it. She was trying and trying to look for her father's head, but what happened? All she sees, her head was on one place, his chest was on one place. She tried to rest her head on his chest, but what chest was there? It was trampled by the horses. It says that Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, she went and she looked for Sakina, but she found her laying on the trampled chest of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And as she was running, Sayyidah Sakina alayhi salam, from one end to the tent to the others in the tent, one man came to her. He says, Ya Sakina, where are you running? She says, oh man, who are you? He says, I'm someone who's here to help you. She says that, oh man, can you point me towards Najaf? He says, why? He says, because I know my grandfather is buried there. I want to tell him what they have done to his family. When he showed her the direction of Najaf, she says, Ya Jaddi, oh my grandfather, look what they have done to your family. Look what they have done to your children. Please come help me. Inna Allah wa inna Ilahi raji'un. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashab al-Husayn. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now there will be a few little words from Brother Hasan and then Matam al-Hussein. Salawat.
this one, brother Tom? I got one. Good.
صلوات على
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Brother and sister, we'd like to thank you for attending the Majlis of Imam Hussein and all the Imams that we've been doing throughout the year. And we would like to thank you all for participating, because without your assistance and help and participating, we wouldn't be able to do all this activity and majalis. So we'd like to thank you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for all that. As we are used to, is to share with you a little bit of information of our center financial situation. And we have two major events every year, alhamdulillah, during the month of Ramadan, where we have a lot of activities and in the center almost every day, and also during the month of Muharram until the Arabaeen. These are the two big activities during every year. And of course, as you know, there's a lot of expenses. When we come here, we find everything is ready, from plates to spoons, electricity, air condition. Mashallah, everybody is participating and helping with the food and with a lot of other things. But there are so many other details that in the background of this to keep this center running. So just to give you an idea about this Muharram Majalis cost and the donation. So far, alhamdulillah, since the beginning of Muharram until like today is the Arabaeen, we have donations. I'm just looking here at the numbers to be sure to give you the correct number. 6,000, about 8,711, and expenses 8,762. So we are very close to break even, but this is without adding. We have about $700 every month just for electricity, the internet, cutting the grass, the water, and the insurance for the building. So that's $700 on top of that. So there's like, for these 2 months, there's $1,200 more. So we are short $1,200 for this 2 months. Just to remind you that we always need your help to continue. Alhamdulillah, compared to many other centers, our cost, we try to keep it the minimum, okay? And it is very reasonable. But again, without your help and support, we won't be able to do any of these majalis. Of course, first and is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's helping us and give us tawfiq to do all that. The other thing, don't forget, we have another project, is the cemetery. And you have the drawing of the cemetery on each side here. Alhamdulillah, we've been working with the county to get the permission, and we are almost getting there, but they are very slow. But we are very close to get the final permit. Just this year to do some work in the land, and we spend about $18,000. And these are extra expenses. And don't forget, we have $50,000 loan. We took $50,000 loan, and we still didn't pay it back. We need your help to do that for the cemetery. We took the loan to be able to purchase it. Now we finished pretty much the landscaping and leveling the land, taking the trees from the area we're going to use. Again, we are just waiting for the county to give us the permit. Hopefully it's going to be soon. But also we started having the grass need to be cut, and during the summers, probably every two weeks, and that also more expenses. So we need your help. Remember that it's not only the cemetery is for everybody. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَكُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. may Allah bless you, all of you. We don't know who's gonna be first, but we like it or not, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-mawtu haq. It's, we cannot escape it. We need to be ready for it. This is the only cemetery for mu'mineen here in this area. We wanted to be ready, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encouraged us to do that. So put this in mind. If you want to participate to help in any way, please let us know. And also I need one last thing, and we'll end with this. There are many small things we are taking care of. Brother Hasan is, he doesn't say anything, may Allah bless him and his family. A lot of things on their back. We need to, some volunteer, but when you volunteer, you need to be volunteering to help Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt. We need volunteer to commit to certain things, just to take some of the burden of his back. And you can come forward to me or to him, and we will tell you. There are a few things, like being, for example, somebody to go check on the cemetery once every 2 weeks, okay, to be sure everything is fine, nothing there. To take this responsibility, or somebody to check the email of the center. Some people sometimes send information, or the mail. Sometimes we have tax information and all that. So there are many small things here and there, but they add up, okay? He has his family to take care of, but also you are his bigger family. Mashallah, he has a big family. Please, if you feel you can give some, this is the sadaqah of your health and strength, is to give some of your time for excuse me, fi sabilillah. And so let us know if you can help in any way. And we're not talking that you're gonna take full time. It's a small, not take you an hour per month or something. Some of these things though will be assigned to you, but be sure if you want to do it, you need to be consistent. Okay, there is no money for it, but you will get in the akhirah, inshallah.
You have to allocate the duties of all the members. So nobody say sorry. Suppose you give me some responsibility, you give some him. They are all young.
I know, mashallah. I mean, you can see this. You don't see it anywhere else.
But you have to allocate the duties. So what is your responsibility?
Okay, yeah, but whoever think that they can do something, just let us know. We will talk about it later, and we will say you are going to be responsible for this. If you feel you can take it, let us know. Inshallah. Salawat.
जिंदान में सुलह आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना जंगल पे भरे घर को लुटा आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना आरस थी बहुत भाई को जिस भाई के दम से दिल बांटा है गम से दिल बांटा है गम से साहिल पे अकेला उसे छोड़ आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना जंगल में बड़े घर को लुटा आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना महमाक़े असग़र को भी झूले के बजाए दर्द छुपाए दर्द छुपाए आगोश में तुरबत के सुलह आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना जंगल में बड़े घर को लुटा आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना मोहम्मद जो मेरी आंखों के तारे मामू के दुलारे मामू के दुलारे कुर्बान उन्हें भाई पकड़ आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना जंगल पे भरे घर को लुटा आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना अकबर नाशाद जो इस घर का उजाला होगे सुओ वाला होगे सुओ वाला मरकद में अकेला उसे छोड़ आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना जंगल में बड़े घर को लुटा आई है ज़ैदा है शहर मदीना हुसैन 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 हुसैन
कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
पाबंद न हुआए हर
पाबंद न हुआए
रोने पे न पैरा
हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा
के लिए कज़ा हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
जिंदानों से आती थी आवाज से सकने की
जिंदानों से आती थी आवाज सिसकने की
जैसे कि सकीना को हर
जैसे कि सकीना को
हर जिंदान रो रहा हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो
टकराए न वो क्यों कर जिंदा की दीवारों से
टकराए न वो क्यों कर जिंदा की दीवारों से
भाई और पुत्री से
हाय भाई से और बुद्धि से
किसको जुदा किया हो
या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या हुसैन 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 ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ मैं वारिस तत्हीर हूँ नामूस नबी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ बाजार से दरबार में ले आए हो मुझको चाहूं तो जला सकती हूँ खुतबों से मैं तुमको साबिर की बहन हूँ जो मैं खामोश खड़ी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ अफसोस कनीज़ी में उसे मांग रहे हो तुम जिसके गुलामों की गुलामी में रहे हो ये जुल्म ना होगा कभी ये जुल्म ना होगा कभी मैं जिंदा भी हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ ऐ शाम के लोगों मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ जिंदा था तो डर डर के हमें शाही लड़े हो अब सर है तो होठों पे छड़ी मार रहे हो तुम कितने बहादुर हो मैं तुम कितने बहादुर हो मैं ये देख शक्ल पैगंबर है ये, हम शक्ल पैगंबर है ये, मैं इसकी वही हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। और इससे कठिन वक्त क्या होगा मेरे माबूद, फिजा के तरफदार है दरबार में मौजूद। मैं पुष्ट पे फिजा के खड़ी, मैं पुष्ट पे फिजा के खड़ी देख रही हूँ। ऐ शाम के लोगों, मैं बिन्ते अली हूँ। ऐ शाम